Hello again, our most valued student. My name is Confident. Welcome to our session, and this is again a revision session for your mathematics N3. And as I previously said, I will be bringing some live sessions. So this is a mathematics N3 revision session, and today I thought of bringing you one of the simpler topics, not really simpler, but a short topic which can work to your advantage if ever you'll be sitting for your final exam in this current term. So I chose a question here, and it is from a previous paper. As you can see, this is, as I said, a math N3, and in this paper I chose to focus on the topic on calculus. So I just want to zoom in here so that you can see what I'll be dealing with. So this is the topic, question number 4, that I want to focus on, and it's only the algebra part of it, which is from 4.1. I'll be looking at 4.1 just for a short time, 4.1.1, 4.1.2, as well as 4.2. So as I said, this is the topic on calculus. So the first part says consider the function of y is equal to 1 minus 4x squared. So it says determine the derivative dy over dx from first principles. So the key here is to differentiate from first principles. So if I can just zoom out again, just to get some space. So we are differentiating from first principles, and what I'm given here, you are supposed to differentiate from first principles. Y is equal to 1 minus 4x squared. So if I can write it here and say I'm differentiating, y is equal to 1 minus 4x squared. Now, if you're differentiating from first principles, the first thing that I would encourage you to do is to go to your formulas, and there is a formula that deals with differentiation from first principles. And if you go to your formulas, this is the part which you're going to use. And when we're dealing with differentiation from first principles, we are talking about this. To say dy over dx is equal to lim h approaches 0 f of x plus h minus f of x over h. So that is the formula that I'm going to use when I'm differentiating from first principles. So if I can use that to say dy over dx, if I can quote that to say, because that is the formula I'm going to use, say dy over dx is equal to lim h approaches 0, and then we've got f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. Just to check it again if I did put it right. So it's h approaches 0, f of x plus h minus f over h. So that's what I'm having. So this is the formula, guys, that you need to rely on whenever you're dealing with differentiation from first principles. But now you need to follow this formula. You need to understand how to work around the use of this formula, because if you kind of mix it up, it is going to give you some confusion. So now, another thing that I usually do, remember I'm given in this case my y is equal to 1 minus 4x squared. I usually do the quicker way of differentiating using the rules or the laws of differentiation so that I can just get my answer. So this is a way of working so that I can see my answer, and then using the first principles I work towards that answer. So here, if I use my dy over dx, and here I'm using the rules, as I said, I'm using the rules of calculus of differentiation. Now remember, 1 becomes 0 minus 4, and then this particular 2, you drop it, and then you've got x, and then you have 2 minus 1. If you still remember the rules of calculus or differentiating, now 4 times 2, it will become negative 8x. 2 minus 1 is power 1, which is negative 8x. So it's just that. So I have to work. My final answer will be negative 8x. Now, if I'm differentiating then from first principles, when I'm giving that, I have to use this formula here. I must follow this formula in parts. The first part is I'm going to let here my y become f of x. I think that what am I trying to do? I'm trying to come up in this case with this part, the f of x. So since my y is f of x, when I rewrite this, it will be f of x. You just say let y become f of x. So it will be, in this case, f of x is equal to 1 minus 4x squared. I think that where there was y, I just make it f of x. Now, when I've done that, this is the first part of the way to solve it. Then the second part now is for me to use the f of x plus h. That is my number 2 in this formula. So what I have here, let me use a different pen to say, my f of x plus h is equal to, now it's 1 minus 4. Now wherever there is an x, you see this was that, but now where there was an x, it's now x plus h. So what I do is you put a bracket as is. Where there is x, now you've got x plus h, you close the bracket with a squared. So you see how it has changed, where there was an x, before there was x. So now because of x plus h, that is what we substituted with that x plus h, but remember it's a square. The next thing you need to do is to simplify that part where you have to have 1 minus 4. Be careful of this negative, be very sensitive there. Always keep that bracket. So you've got x plus h. Students usually confuse now this part, x plus h. You know what students usually do? This is what is common, but I'm going to remove it. They take this to say this is x squared, and then they take that to say this is plus h squared. Guys, that is an error, because you need to expand. You can't expand like that. You have to fully expand and not do, don't be tempted to do that error. And the way to go about it is to do the normal expansion. It's 1 minus 4. Then remember, how do you expand? As I say, it's x times x, x times h, x times h times x, and h times h. So that is how you expand, the normal way that you are used to. So don't be tempted to do it the other way around. So x times x, it is x squared, x times h plus xh, h times x plus xh, h times x plus h squared. See that? Don't forget to always maintain your negative. So it's 1 minus 4 in brackets, guys. This, you add it together, it will be x squared plus 2xh or hx. Some prefer to write it to start with the h, so it becomes 2hx plus h squared. See that? Then you can move on at this stage to open that bracket, which is equal to 1 minus 4x squared. So what I'm doing now, I'm opening this bracket to say the negative 4 will multiply, the negative 4 will multiply, and the negative 4 will multiply. So that is what I'm doing. So it will become minus 4 times 2, it's negative 8hx, and then the other one is negative 4h squared. I think that. So that is what I'm having, and don't forget, this is my f of x plus h. Okay, so if I go to my formula here, I've got, what I have is now this top part. I've got the f of x plus h, I've got the minus fx. So I'm going to write it as I encircle there with in the red mark. So if I can write it as is, so what I am having is to say, if I say f of x plus h, minus f of x. I'm saying that this is equal to, so where there is f of x plus h, I represent that which is 1 minus 4x squared minus 8hx minus 4h squared. I saying that, and then I've got minus, now f of x, remember in the beginning I had my f of x which is 1 minus 4x squared, so you put a bracket and say 1 minus 4x squared. These brackets are very important, because if you don't put that bracket, you're going to miss out everything. So when I do that, I can now move on to simplify or open the bracket. It will be 1 minus 4x squared minus 8hx minus 4h squared. So this negative, if you distribute it inside, minus times a negative, minus times a 1, it's negative 1, minus times a negative 4 is positive. Negative is positive 4x squared. So don't forget that this negative here is the one that must open. That's why you're looking at a negative and then you put a bracket. So it interchanges the signs that are inside. All right, guys. So with that, you have at this stage, if you look carefully, you've got 1 minus 1. You've got minus 4x squared plus 4x squared. So those kind of scenarios are the common ones whereby you find things cancelling. So at this stage, you'll have minus 8hx minus 4h squared. So that's what you are now having. Don't forget, what is this? This is your f of x plus h minus f of x. All right, so if I go back to my formula, I've kind of simplified that particular bracket. Now the next thing that I need to do now is to have it in this format whereby I write, let me bring a different mark. I write all of it like that, whereby now I'm dividing by h. So how do I bring about it? I will say my f of x plus h minus f of x on the formula divided by my h is equal to, now if I look at this formula quickly, you can see that if I take out the h that is common, don't focus on the numbers, just focus on the h. Why? Because you want it to match that. So you'll take out the h, you'll have negative 8x, that is factorization, minus 4h. You see, h times negative 8x, it will be negative 8hx. H times negative 4h is negative 4h squared. So that's what I did. So in here we'll have h, that is the top part. Remember, this is now that f of x plus h minus f of x. So that is minus 8x minus 4h and then divided by h. So it will be divided by h. So you see the part where it cancels, where that goes, that was the main part to get rid of that fraction. So you've got minus 8x minus 4h. At this stage, you have most of the things done. It is a matter of you now writing that whole thing. So at the end of the day, how do you finalize it? You're going to write the whole statement now to say dy over dx. If I can write it now to say my dy over dx, remember, is equal to lim h must become 0, then I had f of x plus h minus f of x over h. So this part, you can see this, I'm having it here, and it became that. So this will be equal to minus 8x minus 4. Now we are saying h must approach 0. So where there is h now, I put my 0. and then my final answer, you can see now it will become equal to negative 8x. That then becomes my dy over dx, and the answer that I got was from that formula. But if you still remember, I said there is a quicker way of doing it. When we got this particular answer, minus 8x to the power 1, and you can see that it matches what I got now using the calculus, differentiation from first principles. So it is in a way an effective way that you can use to solve. I hope, guys, I was doing it in a slower way for you to understand how you can differentiate from first principles. Okay, then the next question here, it says you need to determine the gradient of the function at the point where x is equal to 1. So that is the key now. Find the gradient at the point where x is equal to 1. So what you simply need to do is to go to that final answer that you got, because don't forget that this part, when they say dy over dx, this is the same to say gradient. Dy over dx is simple m, or its gradient. So in here they are saying you can write it and say gradient is equal to minus 8x, and they tell you that at the point where x is equal to, is it negative 1 or 1? Let me just check again the question that they were asking. The gradient where x is equal to positive 1, not negative 1. So in here, what you have just to substitute to say when x is equal to 1. So you just simply come here and put x is equal to 1. It's not a difficult one, which is equal to minus 8 times 1. The simple answer there is negative 8. So when x is equal to 1, the gradient is equal to minus 8. It was not complicated there. All right, having done that, let us look at the rules now of calculus to say determine dy over dx if you are given such a scenario. And then it says leave the answer with positive exponents and in surd form. These are surds. It's 4 marks. It's worth getting those marks, guys. Let me just write this down. It's y is equal to square root of x. I need to clear my space here. I'm just gonna work on it down here because it kind of simpler. Okay, let me just get more space again. All right, so I hope you guys are preparing for yours. You're preparing for your final exam. I know I'm bringing these lessons so late, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do for you to pass those exams. I hope you're benefiting. Remember, guys, in these sessions, what I'm doing is I'm bringing these so that you can be in a way in a better position to answer your exams. Now, I will encourage you just before I finish this session to subscribe to our channel if this is your first time. And also, guys, there are actually more videos that are uploaded on mathematics n1, n2, and n3. But some of these videos, if you check, you're not able to see them if you're not a premium member. So if you want to get more videos, whereby in one part I remember there is a full session of trigonometry, but it can only be viewed by someone who is a premium member. It's not expensive. The reason behind it is to maintain this channel. So yeah, we are having those people who are supporting us in this channel. They help us to keep this channel going. So they have got a monthly subscription which you can cancel at any time when you find yourself no longer in need of these tutorials. So what you do is go over where you see any video, or you can go over to memberships. Then you can see, if you are looking for n3, join the n3 membership. If you're looking for n2, join the n2 membership. Whenever you've got n3, you can view n2 videos as well as n1 videos. When you've got n2, you can only view n2 and n1. When you've got n1 membership, which is the cheapest, you cannot view higher videos. So you must be able to know which level you are. I will encourage you guys to do that. And actually, we thank those guys who are members because it helps us keep this channel going. So that's why at one time we have to give them even more, just as a form or a token of appreciation. All right, just back to this final answer here. As I said, y is equal to square root of x. So let me write that down. Y is square root of x, and then what's the other one? Minus x squared minus 2x minus x squared minus 2x, and then lastly it's over x squared. All right, so how will you go about? Remember, let's look at the question. It's very important. It's 4 marks. The question says determine dy over dx if, then we're going to finalize the final answer to say we must leave it in positive exponents and in surd form. But first we need to work on this. How do you deal with that? First things first, let me just look at this. The first thing you're given is a square root sign. Remember, square root, you cannot differentiate it as is, you must convert it. That sign, square root, means to the power 1 over 2. Remember that if they had given a cube root, it was going to be to the power 1 over 3. Always remember that. So now they gave a square root of x, it means x to the power of half. So that's the first part that you're noting. So you have got y is equal to x to the power 1 over 2. You can now apply the rule there, minus, now you have to split this particular fraction. Now how do you split it? The way we are splitting it, if I've got, for example, in here I've got a plus b over c. Now if I've got a fraction like that, the c is affecting the a and the c is affecting the b, so it will be a over c plus b over c. You see that? That's what it means when I'm having the fraction. So even here, the x squared here is affecting that x squared is a denominator, and the x squared is a denominator to that. So when I'm simplifying it like what I did, I will be having x squared over x squared. Now be careful. Now that is where the examiner, I think here they wanted to catch you. Be careful of this. You see what I'm going to write? It's x squared over x squared, which is fine. Then it's minus 2x over x squared. Then I'll show you where the final trick is. When I've left it like that, this negative is the one that was the game changer here. If you leave it like that, you'll get your answer wrong. The most important thing to do from there is to put a bracket there. You know why? Because this negative will affect the first one, and that negative will also affect that, turning it into a positive. You see the important part. Please, please, please be careful there. In essence, what it means is when you have a fraction like that, the negative before something individually inside. Are you with me? But because it's protected by this, you cannot just apply it like that. You have first to split it the way I've done it, so that you can now use the negative. This is the most important part in this question that I see now, was the trickier part. Most people would have left it as minus and minus, while it is minus and a plus. You'll see later. Now let's continue. We've got y is equal to x to the power 1 over 2. Now minus, as I said, maintain that bracket. So what I have now is x squared over x squared into x squared is 1 minus. Now the next part is the x will go into x squared once, because this is x times x, so you cancel the 2 to remain with 1, so it's 2 over x. You see what just happened? So that is what this in a way will simplify to become. So when you've done that, that is at this stage that you can now open that bracket to say y is equal to x to the power 1 over 2. The negative affect that to become minus 1. The negative affect that to become plus 2 over x. In as much as we couldn't differentiate that sign, we also can't differentiate that. So we need to deal with it. How do you deal with it? Is the laws of exponents. If I have 1 over a to the power m in the law of exponents, and I want to take it to the top. It becomes a to the power negative m. Why? To replace that division, you put a negative sign. So it's the same thing. The power that I have for x here is a 1. There is a hidden 1 there. So if I want to take this to the top to join the 2, it will become y is equal to x to the power 1 over 2 minus 1 plus 2x to the power negative 1. Remember, the negative 1 is only affecting the x, not the 2. At this stage, that is why it was 4 marks. Then you can apply your laws, the rules of calculus at this stage. You couldn't do it at the top here. You're going to get everything wrong. You can apply now your rules here. What you do, you write the normal rules to say dy over dx is equal to, remember the rules, you've got a hidden 1 there, so you write your 1, you drop that half to remember it's multiplying 1 over 2, or you can put it in brackets, and then you've got x, right? The exponent 1 over 2 minus 1. These are the rules of calculus. Now when you're differentiating a number on its own, it becomes plus 0, and then it's plus or minus 0, whatever, it will be the same, plus you've got 2. This negative 1, you're going to drop it there to say times negative 1, or you can bracket to say like this. I think I preferred in that to say bracket negative 1, and then I've got x. I write that negative 1, negative 1. So these are the rules of calculus. 1 times half, it's 1 over 2x. Now 1 minus half, it's negative 1 over 2. And then that 0 is gone, so it's 2 times negative 1, it's negative 2. X to the power minus 1 is negative 2. You can use a calculator just not to confuse yourself there. So this was our dy over dx. That's the generic one. But now look at this. They didn't end it up there. That's where now you put everything together. The question is, leave the answer with positive exponents. Let's start there. Positive exponents. If you come here, you will check and look for any part that has got negative exponents. This is from the previous work. The negative exponents, I think you can see them. I've got 1 there, and I've got 1 there, and they said I must leave my answer with positive exponents. So what do? I write it dy over dx is equal to, now when I want this one to go back here, let me just quickly do this. If I'm given a to the power negative m, see, and I want to remove that negative, I say 1 over a to the power of m. So what I'm just simply doing is I'm rewriting this in this direction. A to the power negative m is 1 over a to the power m. I'm just doing the same thing but reading it from right to left. But similar, when I'm looking at this negative half here, this negative half, I want it to go down. It will then say 1 over 2 times 1 over x to the power 1 over 2. That's how it will multiply, because there is a multiplication sign there. Minus 2 times, again, that one will become 1 over x to the power of 2. I hope to see what I'm just doing there, which is equal to, if you want to, we can simplify it further. Remember, these they multiply, these they multiply. So 1 times 1 is 1 over 2 times x to the power half is 2x to the power half, minus, this is 2 over 1, the top will multiply, minus 2 times 1, it's 2 over 1 times x squared is x squared. This was not necessary. You could have jumped this stage. I was just doing it from here. you can move directly into that part. So this is now your dy over dx. Are you with me? Let's continue further there. Now that was positive exponents. Now you see it's x to the power half x squared. The last part of the statement is, when you have done that, also leave your answer in surd form. So surds happen whenever you're dealing with surds. The surds happen in this case whenever you're given, actually it's here, that is anything to the power with a fraction, the surds. So now what is x to the power of half? That x to the power half is the same as a square root. So this then will become dy over dx is equal to 1 over 2. That x to the power half now is square root of x minus 2 over x squared. So that is how, guys, this is the derivative of that. Unfortunately, at this stage, I haven't found ways of trying to prove your answer. I always prefer proving my answer if I'm fine, but I'll try sometime, just working on this to say, how do I prove dy over dx without using methods that are out of this syllabus, just to stick within the N3 level, because the opposite of dy over dx is integration, but integration is not covered in this section. But guys, this is how you apply from the question the rules, if not the laws, of calculus. And this is what we're dealing with, question number 4. So we're just dealing with this. I know it looks small, but look at the mark allocation, 4, 8, that's 9. It might look small, but these are the things that you cannot take for granted in your final exams. You need to ensure that you get these marks. You need to ensure that definitely you are not losing out anything, because it is one of the simplest algebra kind of things whenever you're talking about calculus. It involves laws of exponents more than anything else. So guys, I've come to the end of the section. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and also as we're streaming this live, you can share this to your friends, to your colleagues, and so that they can also benefit from these videos. If ever you want some other sections that you want us to cover, I will encourage you to feel free and send us those reviews, and we'll be able to assist with that. So as I said, we have come to the end of our section, and yeah, I got a few people that are live here. I've got can we please do trick next? They says that we are which is it's Mayus. He says he wants us to look at trig, which is also something we can do. If you want, we can look at trig. And then Homolemo says, we are here with you teachers, first principle. Okay, thanks Homolemo, that's what I just did there. I hope you understood. We also have Bonello Tunes. It says, good afternoon, I'm here. So thank you guys for your comments. As I say, it makes us know that there are people at the end of the channel who are watching. I know others are coming in to say, look, we couldn't get this, we were not able to say this on time, but apologies if you didn't, we are not able to watch this. And what I will encourage you guys to do is, next time we come live, just check your, that's why I say it is good to subscribe to the channel. If you're subscribed to the channel, it's easier to be sent that notification. And okay, there is also surprise. Ntluri says, let's do, man, we are here. So thanks surprise. And it's good that you guys are still at this time still awake, trying to get rid of this, not get rid as such, but trying to ensure that you pass your mathematics and 3. It's not a difficult subject, guys. It is a subject that you just need to focus on a few concepts, and it's something that you can get good marks. I know sometimes people say, I just want a pass. Don't go for a pass. Tell yourself you want a distinction into this subject. It is very very possible for you to get a distinction. The only thing you need to do is to look at the key things. Just as an advice, you guys are going for your studies, you guys are doing your studies, ensure that you give it a little bit of time whenever it comes to the mathematics or engineering science, which is the physics. Just give it a little bit of time. Tell yourself, I want to focus on one topic, like just to focus on this topic, maybe for this period of time. After you focus on it, tell yourself, I'm not leaving this topic until I have broken through it. Wherever I have got a confusion, I know that at the end of the day, whatever question they can bring, I cannot be confused at the end. So that is an exam tip that sometimes I say. Students become quick to say, if I don't know this, I'm just going to leave it. Just stick to it, and the more you stick to it, the more you stick long, you will get that breakthrough, and there'll be some light that is just going to flash to say, oh, I see now. This is where I was missing it. Most of the time, it's algebra issues and anything. If you can get your algebra right, the most of the mathematics is hanging on algebra. Most of the things you're going to get them right. So guys, if then you want to get more of these videos, just to say, Mai says do trick. I'm gonna do trick, I think tomorrow, just a few questions. It's a long topic, but there is um a full section. I think there are about 12 or 14 videos of trick, but it can only be viewed by those who are premium members, unfortunately, Mayes. So if you can be a premium member, you can go through our channel, look at trigonometry. It's under the playlist. You can be able to have a full session on trick. I uploaded them, but it's only for the premium members. I know you're going to say, but why? It's because these are the guys who are supporting the channel just to maintain this channel. Guys, we've come to the end of our lesson. Thank you for tuning live. See you again next time. This is the 24-minute lesson. Remember, reaching out is proof of passion. I have reached out. Also, reach out to others by telling them to watch over this channel. Thank you.